Hi, and welcome to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch YouTube channel. My name's Ford, the newest member of the CCS family. I'm going to be presenting videos on the channel here from time to time. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite cross-stitching accessories. Here on Caterpillar Cross Stitch, we upload helpful YouTube videos all about cross-stitch every week, so make sure you subscribe. And if you like what you see today, make sure you leave me a like on this video and a comment down below so that I know that I'll be able to make more videos like this. Now, I've been cross-stitching for about 12 years, and I've been a professional cross-stitch designer for about 3.5, and I found certain things to be super useful for me while stitching, and I'm going to share some of my greatest tips with you. Especially stay to the end, you'll see some of the things that I use are a little unconventional, but that you probably already have around the house. As I started thinking about all the things I use while stitching, I realized I was going to have to make 2 videos. The first one about the things I actually use while stitching, and a second about the things that I use to store, sort, and organize all of my materials. So keep an eye out for the second half of this video coming soon. Also, make sure you join our VIP club. You'll get 10% off your first order, an ebook with free patterns in it, and a digital download of our 10 top stitching tips. Just hit the link in the description down below to join. Now, if you recognize me from my work on Son of a Stitch, you're probably asking yourself a question right now. Let me answer it for you. Here they are. They're right here. Nugget's always supervising my work. For those of you who don't know me, this is Nugget. They're my supervisor, and they have their own very specific point of view, and you'll get to know them as we go on. Now, the first thing most people think about when they think about cross-stitching accessories are probably a needle minder. They're cute, they're fun to collect, and we know that collecting supplies and using the supplies are 2 totally separate hobbies. They can also save you from the danger of getting scolded by your grandma for putting a needle in your mouth, just in case you might sneeze or yawn and accidentally inhale it, which I checked my operations manual, and it says that that's contraindicated for humans. Is that true, Nugget? Now, a needle minder is a pretty simple object. It usually consists of something cute, like these hard enamel pin surfaces, and a couple of magnets. A good quality needle minder will have a strong magnet like these neodymium magnets that are on the back of these Caterpillar cross-stitch minders. Basically what you do normally is stick the cute thing on the front of your project, put the other magnet on the back, and that holds it there. You can move it around if it gets in the way while you're working, but that way, instead of sticking the needle in the fabric or in your mouth, the needle minder just holds your needle for you. So you don't have to worry about your needle falling off, and it'll just be right there where you left it without having to poke extra holes in your fabric or risk losing it. Now, personally, I usually use at least a few needle minders, and I use them for other various things. So when I have extra fabric on the side of my project, I'll throw another little needle minder over there, and that helps keep the fabric out of my way, but it also makes it so that I have fabric from the back on the front, and I hold on to that so that the skin from my oils don't get on my working space. Now, these needle minders are all available from the Caterpillar Cross Stitch store, and there's a bundle deal when you buy 3 of them, and there are over 35 cute designs to choose from, so make sure you check those out. Now, I like to stitch in the wild. I take my projects with me everywhere. I stitch at parks, I stitch while waiting for my car to be repaired, and I kind of got tired of sticking my projects in a plastic bag or whatever I had available, and they would sometimes get dirty or ruined. So I have something to prevent that. So rather than any of those makeshift solutions, what I really like to have is a dedicated project bag. This one has a cute little zipper pocket on the front for you to keep all your accessories in, and then a zippered pocket where your project goes. And it's the perfect size for most of the projects that I work on. And then this is a really excellent feature of this project bag, is that it has this clear vinyl back. So if you have multiple projects going at once in multiple project bags, you can quickly tell which one you need to grab. Another really great use of this is I will often put my pattern inside here when I'm working, because I'm stitching out in like a park or something like that, and the slightest breeze will blow my pattern away. But if it's in here, it's much more secure, and I can just stitch without having to manage that all the time. So I really like that. There are also a couple of different designs of these available. I'm using this one right now because I haven't yet figured out what I'm going to stitch on this customizable project bag. This one has an Ada surface on here, and you can stitch whatever you want on there to personalize that, which is super cute. Now, when you need to trim your floss, you also need something specialized for that too. This is another opportunity to get something cute instead of just something that'll work. Now, after you finish your last stitch on a particular thread, you want to trim your tails off because you don't want that loose thread back there to get tangled on things, to pull your stitches, or to be visible from the front, making your project look less tidy. So of course you're going to bury your thread under a few stitches on the back there, and then you want to trim it off. Now a lot of people use various improvised things for this, but I like to have specialized equipment like these super cute little embroidery scissors from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. They're very, very smooth action and nice and sharp so that you can really precisely get right down against the surface and not have any loose thread tails hanging around. Now, because I stitch in the wild so much, I'm often stitching in circumstances that have less than ideal lighting. Almost once a week I go to a Western bar while my partner line dances and I sit in the booth and cross stitch, and as you can imagine, it's pretty dark. So let me show you what I use for that. So what I carry with me for these circumstances is something that you can get at a bunch of different places. It's not really intended for this purpose, but I find it really, really useful. It's this little book light. I can clip it to my project, or I can clip it to any stationary thing that I have around. And then that gives me enough light to work in suboptimal conditions without having to be something bright and annoying like a headlamp. I want to take just a second here to mention our online communities. Make sure you join our Facebook group and follow us on Instagram. There's a really vibrant community of stitchers around Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and there's tons of encouragement, support, and project ideas. Now when I'm stitching on black, the book light isn't quite enough, so let me show you the amazing discovery that I made to help me with that. Even if you have really excellent light with back fabric, you can see where you're stitching on the front, but it's really hard to see behind where you should be bringing your needle up. That's why I use this. Now this is made by a very popular craft machine brand, but they're not paying me, so I'm not going to mention their name. But I realized that its little power adapter is just USB, so that means I can run it off of my phone battery. As you can see, that makes it possible to see where the holes are in the fabric and makes it a lot easier to see where to bring up your needle. Now, you might have guessed based on my accent that I'm in a slightly different geographical location than most of the other presenters you've seen here on Caterpillar Cross Stitch. There are a lot of things that are different about my country, but one thing that I think that we do exceptionally well is junk food. Now, I'm about to do something that's going to make you really, really nervous. How is it that I dare to keep these delicious flavor-dusted snacks so close to my project, or to eat them while I'm working on a cross stitch? Let me show you my secret snacking weapon. If you learn to use a pair of chopsticks, you can avoid getting that delicious flavor dust on your fingers and safely snack on whatever delicious artificial colored things you want. Now, to explain why I find this next slightly unusual accessory so useful, I'm going to need to make one more introduction. This is Nugget's little sister Eleanor. Now, at the moment, we're moving out of summer and into fall, and that means it's shedding season for Eleanor. Now, your pets might not produce, let's call them exotic fibers, at such a prodigious rate as Eleanor, but they probably still do leave them around, and you don't always want them to be included in your stitch. So this is how I deal with that. So my final secret weapon that I keep in my project bag is just a pair of tweezers. Those can be super useful for getting all of those exotic fibers that your pets provide out of your stitches, especially if they've wound up underneath the stitches and are a little harder to get out. Well, Nugget, anything else you wanted to talk about? I guess we're done for this time. Make sure you like and subscribe so that we know you enjoyed this and that we should make more content like it. Keep an eye out for the second half of this video where I talk about storing and organizing accessories as well. For Caterpillar Cross Stitch, my name's Ford. Thanks for watching.